Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Neil C. Hughes, and today I'm going to be diving into the realms of digital marketing and all the financial intricacies that power these ventures, not to mention all the technology that brings that to life too. And Cheetah Digital by Marigold is now part of the Marigold portfolio, which was unified under one brand earlier this year, and their name will resonate with so many in the industry because they work alongside huge household names, and they've been at the forefront ensuring marketers not only drive revenue but also foster enduring customer relationships. And today I have the privilege of hosting Chris Pearce, the International Finance Director for EMEA and APAC at Marigold. And Chris is going to be sharing the transformative journey of Marigold's transition from manual to automated accounts receivable. So I want to learn more about everything that they've experienced here, because I know it's something that a lot of businesses are thinking about doing now and maybe want to follow in their footsteps. I want to learn about their experiences, the challenges they faced, and the remarkable benefits reaped by turning to automation and this technology. So buckle up and hold on tight, because it's time for me to beam your ears all the way to the UK, where you can sit down with myself and Chris. We'll be talking about all this and much more. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Chris. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, hi. Fantastic. Lovely to meet you guys. So my name's Chris Pearce. I'm actually based in the UK. And, my current role within the Marigold organization is the Commercial Finance Director. But like anything, I've sort of built my career up. Anyone in finance will know you sort of start your way in that sort of accountancy qualifications, things like that. So I've done that for a number of years. And then moved into industry when I wanted to really get into the nitty-gritty of an actual industry. Worked within telecoms, and then over the last 9 years, I've worked as within an organization that's eventually become the Marigold organization, and been a part of that growing industry, growing business.
Fantastic. And I always like to take my guests back in time, find out more about their origin story. Is there anything around you that, I don't know, maybe something that lit the spark in you for your love of technology or something like that would put you on this path and the role that you're doing now? Is there any moment like that?
I think like anything, when you start within a business, you've qualified, you're fresh out of school, university, whatever it is, and you start and you gradually want to grow and get into a business. I've been quite fortunate to stay in the industry, as I was in the telecoms industry before, and then it was marketing, digital marketing. It was just to gain an interest into how does it actually all work and things like this. And as it's developed over the years, it's just grown my fascination to it.
And of course, as you mentioned a few moments ago, Cheetah Digital evolved into Marigold and is here in 2023 considered a pioneer in the digital marketing industry. But can you talk a little about the company's journey, particularly in terms of how you adapted and have grown with technological advancements in the market space? Because MarTech is such a big topic right now, isn't it?
It's big and it's growing and it's exciting and all aspects. Yes, I mean, Marigold has developed itself. We focus ourselves very heavily on sort of bringing best in class to it. We helping our customers bring long-term relationships, marketing programs to help grow that relationship. Marigold is a combination of 6 brands: Cheetah Digital, Selligent, Sale-Through, Campaign Monitoring, and EMEA. And we're on a journey ourselves. We in January pulled all of those under one umbrella and started rebranding ourselves. And as we look to do that, what do we do is through our products, we're looking to help to fit our solutions and our expertise into the customer's needs, ultimately to allow them to grow those relationships, develop marketing strategies, and pull out together. I mean, we've looked at quite detailed studies, and we find that over the last couple of years alone, 3 out of 4 customers will happily change brands as they move towards more personalized messages and offerings happening. Loyalty has exploded over the last couple of years. People will now happily sign up to loyalty programs. And we continue to develop that and develop solutions and things that will help grow that story. Because as any customer company knows, once you've got our customer base, you want to keep it and you want to grow it and you want to develop it as much as possible. So, we have a number of things that we've delivered. We put zero party data solutions in place, which some people like to be anonymous with their data, and that helps the marketers get an understanding of the market. And as you go through the loyalty solutions, we've expanded different type of offerings. The legacy email is now being advanced by loyalty programs, email programs, things like that, and it's just that growing development.
And as you said there, you've been on a journey yourselves. And before you came on the podcast, I was doing a little research on you. And one of the significant changes I was reading that you've made recently is automating your accounts receivable with, I think it was Quadient AR by YayPay. Can you walk me through that decision process and what led you to that implementation, and any big challenges that led to that shift, and also opportunities and the good things, like ROI and value that it brought at the end?
Yeah, and that's a great thing. One of the things to talk about. It's the customer base of our side. We've got 40,000 customers that we look up and deal with on a daily basis, and we're there to provide the service. But at the same time, you also got to make sure that you have good control of all your accounts receivable, things like that. Now, as with many organizations, you suddenly find yourself in a position where your team, your accounts receivable are communicating to those customers sort of on an irregular basis. The teams are doing multiple things. They've got a big people in there. They'll be chasing on one side the customer to say, hang on, your invoice is overdue. Is there an issue with it? Is there a payment date? And then something might take their mind off it. And that regularity of chasing that debt through to make sure your cash comes in a timely manner, which allows you as a business to manage yourself. So the beauty of what we looked at with YayPay by Quadient was that automation. And it's never right, this fixes it, you don't need to do anything else. It provides you with a tool which sits there and say, you have comfort that on a regular basis, and you set that cadence, be it 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, whatever is appropriate for your customer experience, you'll sit there and say, there's an automated, formalized response email or communication going out to the customer saying, here's the status of where your things, when's the payment going to come in? Your collectors can then follow in off the back of that. And they can put notes into the system, which anyone can see. So it creates a single source of truth. And when you get it going, it creates that regular communication with your customer in a positive way. They can see where their invoice is. They may have lost the invoice. They may not have got that invoice. They can download it into this. It takes away all those immediate discussions about, oh, sorry, I didn't know I had that invoice outstanding. And off the back of it, it just means that you have a great relationship with your customer. They can see where it is. Your cash comes in significantly quicker. And off the back of it, yes, metrics such as DSO, where you could suddenly have a customer that's normally paying 40 days late, something they're paying it on time. And that's what you will want. It also allows you to see trends. So a customer that always regularly pays on time suddenly stops paying. It might highlight to an issue that your collectors can address. So there's so many benefits to having what is basically an automated platform just behind the scenes that runs, and it is not being distracted by the various priorities that everyone in the business always gets to.
And I suspect so many people listening will be nodding in agreement. So many of your words will be resonating with them. And I suspect for many business leaders, they'll be inspired by how you've been on this journey. You've come through the other side and the opportunities you've unlocked as a result, but they might consider themselves a million miles away from getting where you are now. So can you talk a little about that transition period, how that integration process worked, and the kind of challenges you faced from moving to manual to automated accounts receivable? Because it takes a little time, but I'm curious what you experienced during that transition period.
Yeah, it does take time, and it gets a little bit, you obviously have to plan it and think in advance. Yeah. Your biggest problem is your data. It always is. Actually, you can quite happily pull from your ERP systems or your accounting systems, your invoices and your annual balances. That part's relatively simple, and the automated softwares such as YayPay do that really well. But it's often who are you emailing, who's your escalation point, And they're the things that are normally, when you've moved from a manual to an automated, they're in people's inboxes, they're on spreadsheets, they're in different places, they're in people's memories. And so that initial upfront part is get yourself into that position where you get your data pulled together, and then just get into a place where you can update it regularly, because enough people change, right? People move around, and email addresses change, etc., things like that. So you've got to get all that ready and think about that. But once it's there, it's relatively straightforward. It sounds daunting, but it's actually not. It just is a case of you're there. You have to think about your templates, your structure. You need to make it. If you're starting a journey from scratch the first time, keep it very simple. Just keep a structured, chase on 15, 30, 45 days, every 15-day instances. And think about a communication and how you will strengthen the wording, because you don't want to alienate the customer. Ultimately, you're there to sort of continue that relationship, but at the same time, ask for an explanation as to why the payment has been made. In most cases, it's just, we haven't got around to it. Sorry. We want to try and do that, and you want to get up that pecking order of actually getting the payment made quicker. So think about that. Keep a communication. You can always develop it later on, and the systems, especially YayPay being one, it's brilliant in that sense of being able to sort of push the complexity as you need it, and then reducing it down. And then it's just a case of simply keeping track of it. Training the individuals. All the softwares are very easy to use these days. They're very user friendly. Technology's come a long way in that sense, and it then gives you that opportunity to think about the reporting you want to bring out of the system. Some organizations, you have multiple subsidiaries, and therefore you can actually use this technology to consolidate it all into one and put it together, and then see a global view, or indeed an entity view if needs be. So it's just planning it through, but it's not as difficult as it initially seems if it's there for the first time.
And again, for any business leader listening, we are in a period of economic uncertainty. And the other challenge, of course, is every single tech project is now under close scrutiny for how much does it cost, how long is it going to take to deliver, identifying what problems we're actually solving with technology, and what value are we delivering, what's the ROI on the project, all those things that we have to get across before a project can come to life. So what have been the most significant benefits that you've observed since automating your accounts receivable? And could you quantify some of those benefits, such as reduction in overdue customer payments, like which you've already mentioned, and just to bring everything we're talking about to life here?
Yeah, we can. When we implemented this solution initially in one of our brands 2-3 years ago, and so we've just continued the rollout across all of our brands. When we put that into place, it's not solely down to this software. It's obviously a combination of multiple things, but we reduced our accounts receivable by the aged accounts receivable by 40%. We're talking multi-millions pounds, which just freed up cash. It brought simply cash into the business, which meant that we were able to invest that into our projects that we wanted to quicker. We didn't have to, you think about that. So you think about the investment return from that investment, or indeed it simply reduces the gearing that you may have in the business, therefore the interest payments. So there are multiple ways, and a good KPI for accounts receivable is DSO. How many days passed does a customer pay? We saw that reduced by 25 days over a number of months. It regular communication to the accounts payable team of your customer base just means that they're more likely to settle those invoices.
And I think if we do go back 3 years ago, I think automation made a lot of people nervous. We've all seen those stories in our news feeds about tech replacing jobs. I've always maintained that the businesses that do the best in this transitional period are the ones that leverage technology and get people focusing on more value-add activities rather than replacing them. So I'm curious, what kind of impact has this automation had on your team? Has it freed up your resources or allowed you to refocus their efforts in more strategic areas? What's happened here?
It's done both of those. Yes, it allowed, if you have a portfolio of customers that you're looking after, and you've got significant aging, you are trying to prioritize which one do you chase after, because as you reduce that down, it becomes significantly cleaner.
Yeah.
It therefore means that they can focus on the important ones. That large invoice, as it comes due, even to the point where you tell the customer a couple of days before, just let you know it's there. Are you okay? Any issues, etc. You are beginning to manage the business. It allows that entire team and you as an organization, finance organization, to have more confidence in when funds are coming in and when it's not. And if there's an issue. 3 years ago I was at that horrible COVID time, and there was a lot of financial uncertainty in the market, and people were holding on to funds and not sure what was going on. And we had to manage ourselves carefully. It provides all of that, allows you to focus on where the problems are rather than just seeing a big ledger going, I'm not sure what to focus on first. It allows you to repurpose people into, people are then, there's always activity that needs to be done that gets sidelined to, well, I'll get to it. And that means that can come forward and be brought forward and delivered as well. There's so many benefits.
And of course, this year, AI officially entered the mainstream. And believe it or not, we're only 4 months away from 2024. So if I was to ask you to look forward, how do you see automation and AI playing a larger role in Marigold's operations? And are there any other areas in the company where you might see the potential for similar transformations too?
It's a really interesting question, really interesting topic. It's not something I can actually speculate on. Marigold is evaluating best possible process for business and customers, etc. But it's one of those topics that we're just investigating. Personally, I'm really interested to see how it develops as it evolves over the coming years. But it's a difficult thing for me to speculate on at the moment.
Sounds like we'll have to get you back on in 2024 to see how things are evolving. Well, I cannot thank you enough for sharing your insights today. But before I let you go, I'm going to ask you to leave one other thing for everybody listening. We have a Spotify playlist and an Amazon wish list here. So I'm going to ask you to leave either a song for our Spotify playlist, maybe a song that helps you get your head in the zone or something that's important to you, or a book that you've read recently that you'd like to recommend. All I'm going to ask you is, what is it you'd like to leave us with and why?
I'd love to read you and leave you with a book I've got at the moment. I'm reading the notes. Wonderful title called "Surrounded by Idiots" by Thomas Erickson. It's one of these books that helps you understand how to communicate with people and how the different people are at different levels and different spectrums, and not spectrums, but so different ways that they communicate. It talks about red people, green people, blue people, and yellow people, and it says how you sometimes struggle to understand why you're not getting your message across to that type of individual. And then when you understand how they think and you look at how you are, it's one of those things. We focus so much on processes like that, but the people is still a massive part of my business and a massive part of my and understanding how teams work together. And it's a fantastic book to read. Gives you an insight as to suddenly if you tweak how you talk or refer to something, how somebody will actually something pick up in a different way. It's a great book.
Awesome. Well, I'll get that added straight to our Amazon wish list. And I'm conscious we've talked about the inspiring journey that you've been on today. And a lot of people may be wanting to find out more about what we talked about, what you offer to people at Marigold as well. So for anyone listening, just wanting to find out more information, maybe talk with your team, where would you like to point everyone?
Simply go to our new Marigold website and we can and take from there. And there's forms that you can look from there, and we'll happily talk to you about a lot of our solutions.
Well, I think your story there will resonate with so many people listening around the world. In a situation where staff were manually communicating with their customers to ensure collections of their invoices, that causes follow-ups to be missed and system reports to be inconsistent, and multiple customer account portfolios struggling to be managed all at once. And I love how you've managed to solve that problem, that very real problem, through automating your accounts receivable using that AR platform. But more than anything, just thank you for sharing your insights and your personal story, and even having time to leave us with a great book. But thanks for joining me today, Chris.
My pleasure. It's been great meeting you.
So that was Chris Pearce from Marigold, providing a rich tapestry of insights on the intersection of finance and digital marketing. And through our conversation, I think it's evident that the right technologies and automation can breathe new life into traditional operations. And the ROI, the business value, is improved efficiency, customer experience, and even the bottom line. And it serves as a potent reminder, I think, for businesses everywhere that innovation is not just about flashy features, but real-world solutions that address genuine challenges. So a big thank you to Chris for joining us and offering his perspective, and equally to everybody listening. I'd love to hear your perspective on anything we talked about today. So questions, comments, if you want to sit down with me, whatever it is, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. at Neil C. Hughes. I'd love to keep this conversation going. But that's it for today, though. So I'll be back bright and early tomorrow. But thanks for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.